Hi, and welcome to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation focused on youth mental health. Before we begin today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that all content that is found in our podcast is created for informational purposes only. This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or therapy. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition, and never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard in this podcast. Thank you so much, and without further ado, let's get started.
Hi everyone! We are back on Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving. Today, we are talking about stress management from a high school student's perspective. We usually think that only adults are stressed, but hopefully, this podcast will change that. Soven, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Soven. I'm a sophomore in high school. I enjoy swimming, reading, watching TV, and playing with my dog. I myself am a part of the Tharaka youth team, so I both know what stress is, and as a high school student, I have personally experienced it in my own life.
Yeah, I love reading too. I wish I had a dog, especially a Pomeranian one. Is caring for a dog a lot of work?
Yeah, it's a bit of work.
Well, okay, then let's park the dog chat for later. For now, I'm super excited to learn from you. So, you agree with me that there is no set meaning for stress, right? Because something that stresses me can be something normal for you. So, let's start with clearing our definition. What's your definition of stress?
In my opinion, stress happens when you feel pressure. This can result from many different things, such as school, family life, work, sports, and more. Stress is just a natural response to outside pressures that can result in certain symptoms such as an elevated heart rate, nervousness, sweating, headaches, and more. For example, before a test, you may be stressed and feel nervous and sweaty. However, over time, stress can create chronic problems like insomnia, high blood pressure, a weaker immune system, frequent headaches, and more.
Yeah. Earlier, I learned something that stresses us is called a stressor. As kids, we have a long list of stressors, including homework, chores, school, and much, much more. We all feel overwhelmed, annoyed, and confused at what to do. What are some of your stressors?
Mine is pretty long too. So, for example, I'm pretty stressed about my schoolwork and my future. I have a long, I have a lot of long nights because I have a lot of work at school, and on top of all the extracurriculars I do, it gets late at night quite often. I mean, I'm constantly worrying about my future and how I have to keep my grades up to achieve my future goals. I have a lot of stress about what college I'm going to go to, how I'm going to do there, and even the future about what my job is going to be, and the list just keeps on going on. Now, as for my family life, there are many things in daily life with my parents and my grandparents that can cause me stress. I mean, I worry about everyone's health. There are everyday things such as family meals, housework, taking care of the dog, helping out my parents, and many other things that, when combined with the other stressors, they become quite burdening. Um, Extracurricular activities. I'm a part of many clubs, volunteer organizations, and sports teams. All of these take up a lot of time and effort, and there are many questions that arise because of them. Am I good at it? How can I improve? Is the work I do helping anyone? Additionally, having to juggle how much dedication I put into not only all of these, but also my schoolwork becomes quite hard. And lastly, my social life. Things with friends can become quite stressful during high school. I frequently find myself worrying about what others may think of me. I also worry about whether others are better than me at school, sports, or if they have more friends. Now, on top of trying to maintain complex social relations at my school, I still have to worry about keeping my grades up, and combined with all the stressors, everything can become quite heavy.
Oh my. Seems like some of these are in my life too. Do you have any tools you use to manage all these stressors?
I can feel very stressed at times, and sometimes I do have my own bad moments. However, after realizing that the outside world will not stop giving me stress, I realized I have to learn how to manage my stress so that I can be happy. There are a few ways in which I manage my stress.
That's good. Would you like to share some with our audience today?
I'd love to. So, throughout my daily life, there's a few things I do to help manage my stress. One of the big ones, while it may seem counterintuitive, is that I try to stay busy. Participating in several extracurricular activities helps me feel fulfilled and like I'm improving myself. However, this only works because I like the things that I'm doing. What the audience could take from this is to take up hobbies and things outside of their normal work to be productive while they're still doing things that they enjoy. A few other things that I do to manage my stress are exercise, eat healthy, and talk to other people. When you are stressed, it helps a lot to talk to loved ones or close friends as they can help you feel better. Another big thing is that you have to acknowledge that it is okay to have stress. By accepting the fact that stress is normal rather than suppressing it, you can help yourself cope with it instead of forcing yourself to deal with it.
Wow. I do agree. Talking to my family does help me. Do you have a trusted adult you go to when you're stressed, who listens to you without judging, and they give you advice when you ask for it and just be there and listen when you need it the most?
I sometimes talk to my mom, my dad, or even my sister when I'm stressed, depending on the situation. They all understand certain situations better than one another. Now, while it is not perfect and, they will judge, but they do still help to give you advice. And another big thing is when you have to explain your situation to somebody else, it helps you better understand it yourself and it gives it a different perspective on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I do talk it out with my mom. So earlier you mentioned social life being a stressor for you. Could you expand a bit on that?
After a certain age, social relations become more common. Simply knowing somebody does not make you friends. In high school, to maintain friendships, you have to watch how you act, watch what you say to certain people, and have to even watch who you are friends with. Additionally, societal pressure can force you to do things, good or bad, that can make you feel lesser than others. For example, scoring less than someone on a test, performing worse at a game, or even having fewer friends than someone can make you feel like someone else is better than you. Worrying about these things at school is hard, especially while having to focus on your schoolwork. The distraction that this can create from schoolwork can even lead to more stress in the future if it results in your grades slipping.
I definitely understand that. Let's move to a slightly different topic. What do you mean when you say that you're stressed by your future?
Recently, getting into college has been a lot harder. I personally know many kids who had very high test scores, GPAs, were in extracurricular activities, and were good at sports, but were rejected from universities. Many people got rejected from their dream schools, while many even got rejected by their backup schools. Nobody likes rejection, and it can lower your self esteem. This has created a sense of panic for many people my age, and has become the norm to worry about what college you might go to. As a result, people take on many activities, including a heavy school load, sports, and many extracurriculars. Once a few people start doing it, it forces their peers to do the same. As people worry for their future and have direct stress just from the worrying, they're inadvertently stressing themselves by increasing their workload, which is giving them more things to worry about. I've personally definitely felt this. After a test or a quiz, I even worry about how it may affect my grade and my overall transcripts in my future.
Oh, so how do you manage this stress of future and unknown? I imagine many kids and youth are stressed about their future. How should they cope with this? Any tips for our audience?
I try to cope with the stress by pushing myself harder in school. Now, obviously, I do not go past my limit, but I feel like getting good grades gives you less of a reason to be worried, and it's almost like a relief from my stress when I do well. However, I also do acknowledge the fact that some things are just not in my hands. I think that this is something the listeners should do because learning to let go of certain things can be a huge stress relief. Just do the best that you can at everything, but do not expect yourself to be perfect. Push yourself in school. Obviously, do not burn yourself out. And whatever grade you get, just learn to be happy with what you do accomplish and take pride in it because you have worked for whatever you do achieve.
Thank you, Sylvan, for the wonderful responses and thoughts. I'm definitely going to follow these tools, including exercising and eating healthy. Share with us, what are some of the tools in your toolbox? Overall, we hope you learned something from this awesome interview. Do what feels right for you to manage your stress and live a happy and healthy life. Find your own coping methods and remember, stress is normal and part of life. So, that's it for today. We'll see you next time.
You are listening to Mindful, Beautiful, and Thriving, a podcast series by Tharaka Foundation. As part of our youth series, we will be releasing new episodes every Friday, so make sure to continue to check those out. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and thank you so much for listening.